Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. But oh, that was such a good swing. The Peter Dislike. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to talk a little bit about human evolution. Right now, there's huge debates about whether or not what kids should learn about human evolution. I'm a private tutor, and I always get nervous when I have to teach about anything related to this subject. I believe in evolution, but I think there are some things that you would think that humans would have evolved around, but they haven't, and it's a little bit surprising to me. Now, related to another controversial subject, right? Why did humans not evolve ways to reproduce with either the same sex or without anybody else, right? You'd think it would be a huge evolutionary benefit to be able to reproduce without meeting somebody compatible, right? So imagine I were able to reproduce without anybody compatible, right? Back in 2020, when we first locked down, oh my God, I could have had 1,000 children that year. I really could have. I was bored out of my mind, and unfortunately, well, all that sperm went to waste, right? But why? You would think that we should have evolved our way around that, right? Okay. Now, number two, why did humans not evolve some way of eating that was a little bit less messy, right? Why do we eat with our mouths and in such a way that's messy? You would think that we would have risen beyond that and we could have a clean way to get nutrients into our body without it taking so much time, mess, space, and just be gross in general, right? And that's a huge sore topic for me because there are so many wonderful things I could do if I didn't have to devote time, energy, and space for my nutrition, right? So, for example, I work at a tutoring center. If it weren't for the constraints of having to eat, I can imagine how much more I could work, how much less distraction there could be. Um, Also, when I get off of work, there are so many wonderful things I could be doing. Right now, lately, I haven't been taking good care of my eating habits because of the tutoring and also the bismuth art that I've been doing, right? And it just makes you wonder, why haven't humans evolved a way around that problem? Now, the other thing is, why do we eat with our mouths? And the reason I say that is that it's really frustrating that you can't talk and eat at the same time, right? You would imagine there should have been a different organ that we use for eating that wouldn't interfere with our talking. And that would be a huge evolutionary benefit, right? Imagine you're with your pack of humans, right? Your tribe or whatever it is that you call a group of humans, and you need to warn of some danger, but at the same time, you're eating this living thing that could fly away if you have to open your mouth, right? You would think it would be a huge evolutionary benefit to be able to eat and talk at the same time, and yet humans didn't evolve some way to deal with that, right? Why? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you stop to think about it, right? It really, really, really doesn't. I cannot explain the benefit of using the same organ to eat and also to talk, right? Why haven't we evolved a way? The other sore topic of mine is sleeping, because again, if it weren't for the constraint of needing to sleep every so often, I could be doing a whole lot more, a heck of a lot more tutoring, a lot more bismuth art. I could be researching new things, and so a lot of wonderful doors could open up, right? Why have we not evolved a way around sleeping? Now, why haven't we evolved a way around uh, uh, some sort of way to pass our genes without having offsprings, right? So, for example, let's say I don't want to raise children in my life. I really don't. But let's say I had really good genes, right? I had the genetic gift of being able to pour perfect bismuth crystals, right? And I want to pass my genes down, right? Why haven't we evolved a way to pass down our genes without having to have children ourselves, right? Now, come to think of it, um, why haven't we evolved some way to live forever, right? Because that's the ultimate way to pass down our genes, right? Okay, why haven't we evolved a way to? Why is radioactivity so toxic to living things, right? You would think we would evolve a way around radioactivity because it's all around us, right? Even bismuth is slightly radioactive, right? And the reason that's such a soreness for me is that I'm a big proponent of nuclear energy, especially radioisotope thermal generators. We use them on Mars to drive our cars. We should be using them on Earth to drive our cars. One of the reasons I really love bismuth is that it is a RTG. It's just really slow. That's all. This thing has a ton of nuclear energy in it. The problem is that it releases itself over a very long period of time, right? All we need to do is to find a way to speed it up, right? And then we can power our car. I had a dream about this one time, actually. In 2084, Earth comes into conjunction with the sun from the vantage point of Mars, and I hope to travel to Mars to go see it. I had a dream one time that I had traveled to Mars, and I was charging my camera, and my camera ran on a bismuth crystal that I had to put into this special device that got activated by neutrons. There was like a uh, magnifying glass. Outer space is full of neutrons. I was on Mars taking pictures of the Earth, and I put my bismuth crystal into this magnifying glass to get it activated by neutrons to turn it into polonium 210. And I was using that to power my camera. And I think that day is, I don't know if it's to turn bismuth into polonium 210, but bismuth is full of nuclear energy. It just needs some way to be released quickly rather than over 20 billion years, right? But unfortunately, a lot of people are fearful of RTGs because the idea of radiation, right? And there are obviously ways to handle it safely. But why haven't humans or other life forms developed protection against radiation, right? It makes you wonder, given that it's all around us, right? We'd be traveling to space a whole lot more if it weren't for this problem, right? All right, some food for thought, right? But I think the main soreness of mine is, why do we have to be so messy with our eating? You would think we would have evolved a better way of eating that didn't create so much mess, take space, take time, and why do we? Uh, why haven't we evolved a way around having to meet somebody of the opposite sex, right? You would imagine you could have children with somebody of the same sex or without anybody else at all, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Peter Dislike. Bum 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 bum.